The gentleman back there, he and his partner were the ones, he owned REMAX at New Mexico back in the early days, 1977?
76.
76. Okay, he came in before me, I came in 77. And they came to us with a crazy idea. We had this, I thought, and especially the people that worked in Denver at the time, we had a great logo. Okay? It was a for sale sign that had sold across it. I mean, what tells you the consumer more than that? And these guys called us up one day and they said, hey, we have this great idea, and it's, we live in Albuquerque, and have you guys ever heard of the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta? We said, yeah, you know, we've heard of the thing. It wasn't that big at the time, but, you know, didn't get the coverage that it does today. And we said, yeah, you know, we've heard of the thing. He goes, well, what we'd like to do, if you guys don't mind, is we're all chipping in, and we're going to buy this balloon. We're going to make it red, white, and blue, and we're going to put REMAX 100 on the side of it. And, you know, our attitude was, like, do you want money from us? No, hey, knock yourself out, go for it, guys. So they get this balloon, and they have a ball with it. They put the thing up. It's great for the local Albuquerque market and everything else. And it goes about a year, and we have this regional owner meeting. And in our regional owner meeting, it's at the Chicago Marriott O'Hare. Okay, that's the hotel. We all flew into Chicago, and one of the big things was a lot of our regional owners wanted it to be our logo. And we said, oh, there's no way in the world. And Dave Leonard was totally against it. And so we go out, it's on a break, and you know, Dave just said, no, there's no way this is going to be the logo of the company. And Darrel was the guy that had you look at history of the company, and Darrel had this jacket on, and we have a picture of it. And he's got this little round thing with a balloon in the middle, and he came up with a slogan called Above the Crowd. You heard of that before?
Yeah.
Kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what he did. And so now we're in this meeting, and we stop, and it must be about 10 o'clock in the morning, and there right outside of our meeting room is a bar, and it's called the Firehouse Bar. And it's the place, you know, the lobby bar type of thing. And the guy's out there cutting limes and lemons for, you know, the people that are coming in for lunch and all that. And all of a sudden, we look up and they had a TV in there. And it is live, now it's a year later, live from the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta is the Dinah Shore Show. And if you remember that, if you don't remember that, means you're young. Okay? And all that thing is on the TV set. And they go to a commercial, and they span the sky, and it zeroes in on one balloon out of 500. Which one do you think it was? It's this red, white, and blue balloon. And we said, oh my goodness, and we look at the bartender, and we said, wait, tell us about it. He goes, well, every time they go to a commercial, they show this red, white, and blue REMAX thing. And we said, holy mackerel. Well, we walk back into the meeting, and Dave Leonard, who looks at all the regional owners, and he says, I'll tell you what. We were just thinking about this, just talking about it outside. We're going to give this thing a balloon a try. Because what they didn't know is REMAX had become #1 in Denver in terms of listings, sales, volume. Okay, from 1973 to 1978, we had become #1, 5 years. But when we did the survey, we found out we were the 8th best known name in town. Well, think about it. When you have companies that have been around since the 20s and 30s and 40s, all that advertising and all those signs people have seen over the years, you know, when you ask them, what are the companies you remember, those are the ones they write down. So what we do is we asked Darrel and Bill if we could borrow the balloon. And we took it up to Denver, and we had about $150,000 or something in our advertising fund at that point. And we'd look at it and go to one of the TV stations, hey, what would it cost us to run an ad with this balloon? And it was like $25,000 or $40,000. And we said, well, that's a lot of money. So, typical REMAX fashion, Dave rents a single engine plane. Somebody's flying, he's in the back with a camera. And we put the balloon up, and it's kind of later in the day, and the sun's behind it, and we just can't get the balloon to look good, you know? And I think we're there for about an hour and a half before, you know, the propane runs out and the balloon starts going down, and we go, gosh, we don't know if we got this thing. And sure enough, we take it and they do the film. We have 28 seconds out of an hour and a half that we can use. The problem is the balloon now, it's going backwards. That was the only thing that we can get. So as the balloon comes around, it doesn't say R-E, it's X-A-M-E-R. So it's going backwards. And that was our first commercial. We show it to all of our sales associates. And the sales associates go, well, what's with the balloon going backwards? And we said, oh, we talked to these advertising experts. They said if that balloon is going backwards, people will remember it. What a great idea that is. Okay, so we go through that whole thing. We run this advertising for 8 weeks. We wait another 2 weeks and we do another test. And the survey comes back. In 8 weeks, we went from number 8 best known name to the number 1 best known name. And as a result, Darrel Stilwell is a legend in REMAX. So that's the main thing.
I'd like to make a comment about the very first day we decided to do the balloon. My sales manager's name was Tommy Thompson. He is the one that came up with Above the Crowd. It wasn't me, it wasn't Bill. By the way, it's Bill Eccles, who has since passed away. But Tommy Thompson had a next door neighbor who was a Kodak salesman and had just got his balloon pilot's license, but he didn't have a balloon. So Tommy Thompson brings him in to the office and he makes a proposal to us. He said, I will fly the balloon, I'll pay for the gasoline and all of that. I'll fly the balloon if you'll just buy the basket and the envelope. Well, we didn't have any money. So I said, well, I'll see if I can go borrow some money. So luckily I was able to go to the bank and I borrowed enough money to buy the envelope. Now, and everything else is history. We were number 1 of 11 balloons that year, 1977, in the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, which now there are over 1,000 balloons that go into that thing. But I'd like for you to tell the story, Vinnie, about what they did with that envelope and cutting it up and so forth, because I think that's
interesting. So the first REMAX balloon, what we did is we got the envelope. After a certain number of years, it's not flight worthy anymore. Okay? So if you ever own a balloon, I know Texas with Richard, you know, was being a balloon pilot here in Texas, the first one. And after a certain number of years, it's just not flight worthy anymore. So what we did is we bought that original envelope and we cut it into pieces. And there are flags, okay? There is a United States flag, there's a Canadian flag, and there's a Betsy Ross flag. And there are 10 of each one. And what we have done is they're designated to go to charity auctions. And they happen a lot of times at REMAX conventions, when that money will either go to Children's Miracle Network, or it'll go to Komen, or Sentinels of Freedom, or something along those lines. So that original hot air balloon has raised, it not only has become the only logo, when you think about it, ever in the real estate industry, a living logo, Gentle Giant that's 8 stories tall, but what it also is, it's generated so many funds for people in need and for research. So when you look at it, it's been such a win-win situation. Thanks for bringing it up, Darrel. That's a great deal. So I just want you to know you should go say hi to him, okay? We would not be the same company today if we didn't have that balloon. So it's kind of a fun deal.